Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversations. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Hello, hello, hello. I have a question for you. Have you ever felt completely lost? You know, seeking purposeful direction that could and should propel your mission within your divine journey to that next level, but still it hasn't happened. Well, my name is Lauren Michaels Harris, and I'm the founder of P3, the Journey Series. People come to me because they're wounded. Many are scared, and even there are those who are bruised simply because they feel that they are increasingly, for whatever reason, losing their ability to dream. Now, this P3 program is not for a person who's just looking to start a business, no, but rather for those of you out there who have been on your journey and you've been navigating within your divine purpose, but you still desire to elevate to that level that you have not reached yet. If this is appealing, if this describes you, then I want to have a chat with you. I want to hear your story. So use the link below to get registered for your free seat at P3, the Journey Series. And let's get started, one story at a time. I'll see you inside. Click the link.
Before you get it, baby, show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Oh, I'm standing right here holding up a sign, shamelessly displaying my state of mind. empty. What's yours for the taking tonight?
Okay, I'm in another screen doing something. You know, let me tell you something. That ADHD ain't no joke. Seriously. One time, the show was, you guys, it came on like this, and I was back there playing Words with Friends. I was on like my third game when I realized, oh, the show is happening in another, right. Is it ADHD or is that just getting old? I don't know. I don't care. I'm going to have fun no matter what I'm doing. There it is. And you should too. Hey, good morning. Welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. I'm Dr. Lauren. That's the Bill of Purpose. This is my sidekick, Lucy McGillicuddy Ricardo. Been here all 8 years. And many of you have as well. I'm happy today. It is Thursday. Turn it up Thursday. Oh, man. I'll save it for tomorrow. I made a thing. It's on my page. I saw some geese this morning, you know, queuing up to go south. They didn't have the full V yet. Somebody must be late, but about 4 or 5 of them were ready. And I was like, oh, shit. You know what I mean? Now the snowbirds are throwing all their shit in there. Look, I saw the geese, girl. Gail, you see them geese? I saw them. Me too. Pack up. Time to get the hell out of Chicago. Seriously. Because as soon as you see those geese, all of a sudden frost is going to be on everything, like in a month. That's how it is. What is it like right now in your neck of the woods? I want to know on a scale of 1 to 10, how you feeling about things, huh? Put it in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from. I got a great guest for you today. I really do. I'm really excited about this guy. You know Christine Dean. Christine Dean. You know, she's got one of those names where you got to say both of them. Ted Hall. These are people I've met in my life that have those kind of names. Ted Hall. Every time you talk about him, hey, anybody seen Ted Hall? Joe Barnes. That's another one. Christine Dean. And then my friend Jimmy Clare. I always have to say Jimmy Clare. I declare it's Jimmy Clare. Right. So I told you ADHD is something else. Get used to it. It's my superpower. So listen, you guys. How many of you have ever been somewhere other than the place where the action is happening, the event, the workshop, whatever it is, and you so wish that they had live streamed it? And how many of you have wished you were able to live stream your own work to get it into more laps, more hands, more hearts, right? Where people can do something with it. Well, today's guest, PAYTON Childers, and I bet people have said Childers, right? And all the time I see him backstage. Yes, PAYTON Childers is here, and he is. Oh wait, let me go. You know me and what do you call those things? Bios. I'm not really into them, or am I just lazy? I don't know. But I really like for the guest to kind of pour in, and he's going to do that when he gets in here. But let me give you just a tingy piece, a little piece. He says that his career journey has been shaped by a passion for storytelling and a commitment to excellence in every project that he takes on. He's had the incredible privilege of working with ESPN Plus and the Texas Rangers, where he was honored to receive his own World Series ring. For real? Well, he's also the proud owner of Magix, Magix Production, and which is a company dedicated to facilitating live streams. This is what I was hinting towards, for webinars and other live shows. Now, let me finish. As virtual show producers, they handle everything remotely, ensuring seamless and professional productions from start to finish. Or if you're from the hood, that equates to from the rooter to the tutor. So there you go. Yeah, now there's a lot more, but PAYTON can show you better than I can tell you. So you know what we do. He's a first timer. Be nice, be loving, be kind. Put some hearts on the screen. It's our virtual way of saying welcome. Here he comes. I hear him walking down the hall now. PAYTON Childers in the house.
Good morning.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well this morning. How are you?
I'm awesome. Blessed, highly favored, happy to be alive, all that. All that. Where are you at? Where are you at in the world?
I'm in Fort Worth, Texas right now, but I live full-time RV life, so I get to travel the country. It's every day is a new day, so we're figuring out where we're going next. But right now, we're in Fort Worth, Texas.
Now, why did I just detect that southern twang when you started talking about when the word Texas came out of your mouth? All this time I've been talking to you, I never detected it. I heard it now. So are you a native of Texas?
I am, yeah, born and raised in Texas.
Okay, and you were born in what town? What town are you originally? Where'd you graduate high school?
Dickinson is where I'm from. It's south of Houston.
And then you were in Huntsville, Texas for a while. We saw that on some of your profiles, right?
Yep, that's where I went to college at Sam Houston State University out in Huntsville, Texas. And it's out in the middle of the piney woods. So there's nothing to do around there but camp and drink. And that's about it. So I spent most of my time broadcasting for ESPN Plus while I was there. And I was their director of cameras for all of our college sports. And I loved that. That was what I really poured everything into because there wasn't much else to do there.
Yeah.
And that's whenever I really found out that this is what I love to do, which is broadcasting and directing multi-camera shows. And that's
really
kind of how I found my fit. Yeah.
Yes. That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. Then right after you discover it, now you get to work assembling it, putting all the pieces together. Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot. I get it. I get it. Yeah. So you do fancy yourself a creative. How's that compared? And then I'm gonna turn it over to you for a minute to just say hi and create a vibe with everybody. But I'm curious before we go to that. What's it like when your peers that graduated over there at the university with you that went into say like corporate, and then here you are a creative, and when you guys get together, stuff you talk about your lives and how things are going. How different are the conversations?
Let's see. So since I started my company in January, I've talked to a bunch of people that I graduated with 3 years ago now. And just catching up on what they're doing and what I'm doing. And everyone that I've talked to has taken a completely different path than me. The one that I look up to the most, I won't say his name, but he's doing work politically. He's doing a lot of political works with people that are running for president and running for governors of different states. And he's traveling the country doing that stuff. And it was crazy because we both admired different parts of what we were doing. He was admiring the creative side about how I just get the freedom to call the shots and what cameras I like and what shots should go up next. And I was like, I enjoy your drive, dude. Just being out there and being able to travel and getting paid X amount to do all of these things that you love doing. Like you're going out there and you're creating these commercials for these political people and they look incredible. I'm like, you're doing awesome things. And we just back and forth. And then I had another conversation similarly with a guy who worked in corporate for a tech company. And he just did a whole, almost like a YouTube segment about their new upcoming tech. And I was like, holy crap, you're like professional now. What the hell happened from 3 years ago to now? It's crazy the amount of things that have changed.
So were you guys in the same program at the university? Did you go through, did you get the same degree? What kind of degree do you get for this work?
So I have a mass communications degree. Mass communications is what I have.
Lord Jesus, they're still peddling that one. That's what I had. And most of us in the 80s that had that ended up working at Red Lobster for a good amount of time, if you know what I mean.
That's what everyone's afraid of.
It's true. We did, because the thing about it was so flooded. Everybody was doing it. But it's what led, I started in radio. And then voiceover stuff came, and so it worked, and I'm still in it. So it worked. I think you're making the right decision. You know when it's right. You just know when it's right.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, no joke.
So, well, listen, I want you to kind of just like spill your guts, if you will, and say hello to everybody. I'm going to dip out for about up to 60 seconds. If you need, if you don't need the full time, I'll sense the uncomfortableness of you, and then I'll come back in. But anyway, pour from your heart. What is it you want people to know today? And we'll get started from that down the road towards the rest of this interview. Take it away, Payton.
All right.
All you.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. My name's PAYTON CHILDERS. I own the company Magix Productions, where we facilitate all virtual events, be it webinars or podcasts or live shows such as this. We're trying to find more and more associations to get in touch with, because a lot of them have that monthly retainer where they're always showing up. There are people virtually that are paying for a ticket, and it's never enough to just, good enough is like my anti-phrase. I hate that. Good enough is never good enough. It's always like a camera in the back of the room. That'll work. That'll be okay. That's good enough for now. and then that always just sticks because it works. I hate good enough. I want to bring in multi-camera. Let's make sure that there's something happening on the screen. I don't want things to just sit still. And I got into this, started in high school because somebody said we need a director for our sports. And at the time I had just gotten kicked out of band because, well, that doesn't really happen. People get kicked out of band. Yeah, right? I got kicked out of band. Oh, you're muted again.
Sorry, because I was, you know why? Because I refilled my coffee, and every time I do that and you can't see me, I'm afraid people will think I'm like peeing.
Yeah,
you know, because I'm pouring it from this into my cup, right? So and I forget. ADHD had to explain everything. But listen, wait a minute, I had to come back in. This is the first. I didn't even know they could do that. Who led that what would you call it? Witch hunt.
Yeah, kind of. So what happened was I was in percussion. I was in drumline, or kind of in drumline. I wasn't good enough to be on the field marching, but I was in the B team or whatever you want to call it. Eventually, the band director for percussion came over to me and said, "Hey, come into the office. Let's talk." I was like, "Okay, what's up?" He goes, "Peyton, I don't think you like band." I think I like band. I love music. Like, I feel it in my soul. Like, let's talk. Let's groove. I love this stuff. And he goes, "I think you're really only here for friends." And I started thinking back. I'm like, what do you mean? What's pointing you towards this? And he goes, "You don't practice. You're not like pushing to be the top of the top. You're really just using band to hang out with your friends for 2 periods in a row." It's like, You are correct. And he goes, "I think it's better if you go find another elective somewhere else." It's like, huh. Okay. And so I went out and I looked through the elective list and I found the AV group and I selected it. And so walked in the class the next day with my new elective and they said, "Yeah, we're giving everybody a position today. We need camera operators, audio guys. We need this, that, the other. We need a replay guy. We need a director." Nobody raised their hand for a director. And I'm like, I'm the new kid. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll try it out. And they sat me down in the chair in front of the newsroom. We did that. And then they moved me over to sports. And I did all of our sports for basketball, football, and high school. And I loved it. And fall into that position where I can talk 15 different conversations, ADHD brain, like you were talking about.
Yeah.
Just between different topics, just like that. And I'm supposed to because I have to.
Exactly.
It just fit
all
in
the
like
shit. Yeah, all the shit that used to get us put out in the hallway in grade school. You know, because you distract everybody. Yeah. So
no, I
always love that story.
For me, it was always the teacher would pull me up an extra chair right next to the desk to make sure that I wasn't getting off track or anything. My favorite spot was always sitting right next to the teacher in almost every one of my classes.
Oh my God. Oh, I'm so glad that hasn't gone out of style because that was me. But they didn't even, they put my ass completely out in the hallway because sitting next to her or him didn't stop shit for me.
Yeah, right.
Seriously, I could perform backwards. Yeah, anything. Because I'd finish my work, but then I would be bored. Right. That's when, and that was Mr. What was his name? Mr. Monroe in 5th grade. He didn't put up with any shit either. He's the one that came around. When I remember he rang our doorbell at like 7 at night. I was like, oh shit, what'd I do? Right. And he talked to my mom about taking me out of public school and putting me in parochial school. Because he said he needs a bigger challenge. And that's what they did. Kind of the same thing with your band teacher. He saw that his passion. He's on reserve. He's got his passion is somewhere else. It's not here. And so what have you ever gone back and thanked that man?
I have not, but I guess I'll do a shout out right now. Thank you, Mr. Sommers, because you knew that I was not meant to be in band anymore. There was something else out there that I should have pursued. You found it.
You think he still works there?
If nothing else, I know he's still in percussion teaching role. I don't know if he's still at the high school or not.
You know what? If I were you, Peyton, you should pay it forward and let him know that because that's a great teacher.
Yeah.
They have their fingers on the pulse of what students need. Yeah. And you know what I'm saying? I think that's a pretty wow. I don't know, do you do any keynoting? You would go around and talk about your work and stuff yet? Or is that coming?
Not much. Not yet. It's coming though.
When you do, make sure you include that story.
Yeah.
When you start speaking on stages about your journey, please include that story. I think it's awesome. So let's get started. I got some questions for you. Let's go to I really am impressed, seriously. And I own a network, a television network, Trajectory TV, and I've been with D360 for 8 years. And so I know a little bit about this work, and I know talent when I see it. There are those who refer to me as the Black Simon Cowell.
Oh,
Just saying. Well, it's well, because I always pick the winners. You know, even in beauty contests, I can tell as soon as they come. I'm Miss Minnesota. I can tell. I can just tell. Always have been able to.
Buzzer.
Yeah,
hit that golden
exactly.
buzzer.
Oh, AGT. We were watching last night the results show. Right, and I was right again. So I'm gonna tell you something about you. I saw some clips, and I just meant to go in and snoop around a little bit, but I couldn't help but to continue watch this Success Champions podcast that you're a part of. Talk about that. How who is that a group thing? Is that yours? I don't is it yours?
I'll jump in. Success
tell us about
Champion
that
Network.
podcast.
Yeah, Success Champion Networking is a B2B networking group for business to business owners, kind of rivaling BNI. But they're much more local. Yeah, everybody at least knows somebody who was at one point in BNI, right? It's one of those groups that everybody knows.
Okay.
But this is kind of rivaling that. We're doing small local groups that are all focused on helping each other. We do weekly networking groups, and kind of a product of that became this podcast. And they'd been doing it for a few years before I came along. But as soon as I joined Success Champions Networking, they said, hey, we want to pull you into this podcast. I was like, absolutely, let's go. It'll get me some, put me out there a little bit, get people to know who I am. And I took it, and I've been running with it since. And that started in January. So I don't know, it's eight months now.
Yeah,
but
round the bend now, headed towards a year.
Yeah, I changed their whole idea on the podcast from, it used to just be kind of like, here are some segments we wanted to talk about, but I've changed it into showing more of what their networking groups are like, where it's very much getting that one person in the hot seat and how can we help you? Because that's what every chapter that I've gone, and they're national now. They have different national networking groups across the country, and they're all.
Do they have one here in Chicago?
They have a group that is based in Chicago. I think it's considered a national chapter because they work virtually across the country. But I know they have, at least in Michigan, there is a chapter.
And so if a person wanted to be a part of it virtually, like the stuff I saw, how do you? Okay, let me just get to it. How do you get on the podcast?
Two separate things. There is successchampionsnetworking.com.
Okay.
And that is how you get into the networking groups. But the podcast itself, that's me going out and I'm trying to find guests that fit the bill. People that have hit a wall in their company, we pull them into the hot seat. We say, what is the troubles that you're having? And we will talk to our top 5 panelists that are live with us. And we all go through step by step how we would tackle that bump in the road. And then you walk away from our hour-long podcast with maybe 10 different tips, 10 different steps that you could take on how to get around and how to overcome what has hit you right now.
Wow. Very good. Nice. Yeah. We'll have to get that information to you guys. We'll grab it and make sure if it's not dropped in during this broadcast, I'll make sure I drop it into the comment section within the hour. So there you guys go. Okay. That sounds great. Now, tell us about Magix, Magix. I have a feeling the X part has a story to it. Right. So tell us about that. Why not just Magic? What's the X all about?
I thought it would be fun to have it just a little bit different. I thought it would stand out a little bit to have an X. I know a couple of different companies that have now just become X as a company. And I was like, well, X is kind of like the thing right now. I'd have no problem taking that on. Yes. And going through ChatGPT and trying to find names that stick, because I had one and it wasn't really sticking. I was going by Suited Pair Productions. I liked that. Suited Pair Productions.
Oh, Suited Pair.
That was who I was whenever I first started my company. And I
so there were 2 of you?
Yes, there was me and my brother. And we're both blonde head and we're both blue eyes and we look very similar, but we're 4 years apart. And so I thought Suited Pair kind of made sense. We're like 2 of the same card is what my thought was. And the more I went on and the more I used that name, my brother wasn't really into it as much as I was. He's trying to start his own name for himself. Okay, I got to find something else. And it just kind of clicked that Magix Production just kind of fell into my lap. After scrolling through ChatGPT for days on end, trying to find a name that I liked, Magix ended up sticking around. Why that is, I don't really have a reason, but it just kind of felt right.
Well, it felt right. It spoke to you. Yes, felt right in your spirit. So is your brother younger or older than you?
He's younger than me.
He's young. I had a feeling he's like, yeah.
I give off big older brother energy.
Yeah. How many kids in your family?
So my brother is my half brother, and then I have a stepsister that my stepmom brought in. So I don't have any full-blooded siblings.
So okay, so this
sister and a younger brother.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, so you really kind of got some of that only child stuff going too.
Kinda, a little bit.
In a way, right in the middle of the road there. Interesting.
Yeah.
So, when you started putting Magix Productions together, what did you think? Because how old is it now? The company?
Oh, well, it started in January, but believe me, it's taken some turns from what it was.
I had a feeling. So it's kind of grabbed you and told you where it's going.
Exactly.
And how do you feel about that?
Well, that's kind of the nature of business. Everybody will go in starting off anything thinking it's going to go one way, and then life tells you to take another route. That's just how it rolls. You just got to learn to take the punches, you know? And so starting off, I was essentially going to be the in-room guy, setting up the cameras and live streaming from the room. But nobody was really taking me up on that. And every live event that I would get was kind of just a one-off. And they're like, yeah, we'll reach out to you next year. Well, that doesn't keep me monthly money coming in, right? That's not working out. That's just some money here and there every once in a while.
Yeah.
It's not paying bills.
Kind of like a hobby.
Exactly. It's not keeping the lights on.
Right.
And so I had to figure out what else I could do. And so I took on podcasting for a while. And I'm like, well
wait a minute. If you keep your lights on, you're going to run the battery down.
Yeah, no joke. No joke. Yeah. Living in an RV.
62 and still got it. Okay. All right. So let's go. I got some specific questions because I think I know some people who need you, but I want to make sure. So let's sketch it out if we could.
Sure.
So for instance, I just had a woman who is in Guatemala. I think it's Guatemala. She was some far away, distant land, and she's was a missionary, but she lives there now, right? Older woman, probably in her. Let's just say older than me, because I ain't trying to piss everybody out.
Okay.
Why you tell my business?
Yeah, right.
Right. So anyway, and she was this close. We had a bunch of calls and stuff about bringing a show to Trajectory. And I know, even though she didn't admit, I have a feeling, let's put it that way. For agreements says that we do not assume. So I'm not assuming I pretty much can tell by now, as many years as I've been doing this. But anyway, I'm pretty sure as an older woman, probably let's say 70 plus, intimidated about the back end part of a show like this on StreamYard. And you're familiar with StreamYard because you connected a destination. So you know what I mean. So what about that? Because people are coming to me about new shows all the time, especially podcasters who are used to just doing audio, but they use StreamYard. So now you have a show at the same time, but they don't want to do all of the punching the commercials, running the banners, saying all that stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And I have a 90-minute television special on Saturday. Now, usually I'm running the back end and it's just someone else out there. Mm-hmm. This particular one is mine. By the way, shameless plug in 3, 2, 1. Saturday at 1 p.m. Central, Turning Tragedy into Triumph. 6 people. I'm one of them. And I've been looking for these other 5 for a couple months and found them all. All of our stories are unique, but wait till you see how this turns out. Something you would have never seen coming. That's Saturday at 1 on all my platforms, including Live Central here on E360 TV. Okay, there you go. So now, I said that for this, though. If I had known you were possible, I might have looked into your world to say, hey, would you mind running this for me? Because you can make someone on StreamYard, you could have a teammate, if you will, and they can be anywhere in the world and they can run the show. So is that what you're talking about? Or is it that and a bag of chips?
Yeah. So this is essentially the basic package that I do is I run in StreamYard, and a lot of people are using Zoom. And what I'll do is I'll integrate your Zoom into StreamYard because you can do the share screen. Zoom shares screen, and you can actually share a portion of your screen. And so on on StreamYard, if you're familiar with it, anybody watching, you get all of this background stuff that covers up the screen, and you have your actual, what everybody sees is only this portion. I share that from Zoom. I only share that portion that looks like the live show, and all the rest of my background stuff is all in the background over here that I'm clicking and adjusting, making sure your slides are going, your lower thirds, your fly-ins, your fly-outs, commercials, your cameras are in the right order. Everybody's going good. Any background noise, I'm doing my best to on the fly adjust, because you can make some minor adjustments to what other people's audio sounds like, but nothing major.
Right.
But all of that is what I'm doing in the background, and I integrate it with your Zoom if you're doing something on
Had
Zoom
no
as
idea
well.
that was even possible.
Yeah, StreamYard doesn't do a great job of integrating with other live streaming services like Zoom or Teams, but there are ways where you can use those other services and kind of work them into working with StreamYard. They don't know they're working together, but you can make them work together, if that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense. Now, just so we can get the elephant out of the room, let's go right to it. So, a lot of people right now are thinking, ooh, that's the one thing that's been keeping me back. But too bad. I know. So I'm gonna put it to you like this. Would I need to find somebody that's in the market for a halfway decent kidney to sell to be able to afford you?
No, not at all. My base package of just running this show on StreamYard is $500.
For how many sessions? How many, like, if a person has 1 hour a week for 4 weeks, does that cover the whole month?
No, it does not cover the whole month, because hold on. Because I do 2 packages, it's like 500 and 800, and then it's per show. Each show is like that, because I'm also helping with content production and run of show. I'm trying to make sure that everything is up front and ready to go before we even press record or before we press go live, right? It's not just I show up on day and we go. I'm trying to help and make sure your content is all white labeled, everything looks good and looks the same, and it's going to look amazing on screen for everybody at home.
Wow. Okay. So how do people know when they're ready for something like that?
All you have to do is have an idea, and we can have a talk about it. If you think you might want to take that step, I love the creative process. I'm always down to throw ideas off of people, bounce ideas off of people. I mean, my brain bounces around all the time anyways. Give me something to point it towards, and let's make something happen.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Okay. So it's going well.
Yeah.
But can always be doing better.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. What would you say is your biggest challenge as a new business owner? You're in the first year, because you know what statistics say, but we know you guys know how we feel about statistics. I'm not going to say anything because this is a family show. I'm not going to say nothing about how we feel about statistics.
Understood.
You see what I'm saying? Because they
don't tell the whole story.
I was supposed to be a statistic. That's why I say it like that. Screw that stuff. So talk about that. What I was getting to is how they say, oh, in the first year, the amount of people go out of business in the first 5 years. So
exactly.
How do you feel about this? Are you carving rather a new frontier? Is this something new, or are there people out there doing this and you're gonna, you know what I mean? How did you know I can make this work? Or did you just jump and start growing your wings on the way down?
Still growing my rings on the way down, still trying to figure it out. But I realized, like, I was in college during COVID. Like, that was when everything virtual really took off. Right. And all of my classes had to switch to virtual. I was in the middle of doing a radio show, and I had to figure out, how can I keep this radio show going for my grade virtually? So we started a podcast, because I had to put out an episode of a radio-like show every week. And so, just how you were saying, doing mass communications, having your radio show, I had to do the same thing. Nothing's changed, I guess. But you have to just figure it out and roll with the punches. You've learned that everything has a way to go virtual, because it had to during those years. And so a lot of people are on their way back, but other companies have figured out that sometimes it's just easier to keep things remote, keep things virtual, instead of paying for that big building, instead of paying to keep the lights on over at this office. Let people stay home and work from home. There's no problem with that. Everyone has a webcam now. It's easy to set up. You just got to either know how to or take the time to learn it. And if you don't want to take the time to learn the platform that you're using, that's when I come in and I step in, because there's so much that goes on behind the scenes that people just don't want to mess with, as you were saying earlier. That's just what it is.
And that equipment and whatnot. I'm just wondering. I wonder if that old equipment, since I kept when I shut my OnlyFans down. I mean, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Don't start none. Don't go spreading that rumor. For real, huh?
Show.
Right.
It's a kid's show, Dr. Warren.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying. But seriously, about when you said webcams and stuff, of course, my crazy self went there. But what I'm thinking about, again, people are like, now I'd have to invest in all these high-tech, expensive cameras and whatnot. But let's talk about this. Let's use my example, if we could. Power of We Symposium. Now, I've live streamed from that event. You saw the clip. I don't know if you were watching, but with the kids and all that. And so, have you ever considered a joint venture with like a television network? Is that something that could be possible? Where people that have events and things like that, you know what I'm saying? Where we go, hey, I got somebody for you.
I hadn't even thought about it. No, the thought hadn't crossed my mind.
Well,
for working specifically with TV production, I hadn't thought about yet.
Yeah, where, that's a client, where you have a joint venture where it's like, okay, because I have, seriously, the thing I love about the coaching I do, my model is you do the work, I'll provide the stages. So all the things, including covers of magazines, if you want to be in a movie, anything that I've done, you want a Lifetime Achievement Award, I can nominate you, this, that, and the other. I like to join, this is just how I'm talking, the kind of entrepreneur mind I am. Is not always, but when it's a great fit for all and mutual benefit, helping people get to the right place from A to B with not a bunch of bullshit in between. Because as we both know, nowadays people promise a lot of things, and then a lot of people get burned because they paid a lot of money and got nothing, no value, nothing. And now that could be the very thing where they say, that's it, I'm throwing my hands up. And now all of the healing that they could have accomplished in the world through their divine work is wasted. Just
it's a lot of people over promising and underperforming. That's what we're getting a lot of right now.
Well, because a lot of us don't know the lingo. We don't know when you're talking jargon and the 24, is it in 5K or we know that, but nothing else. And it's not like I can look at something and tell, oh no, that's 4K. I'd know 4K anywhere. You know what I'm saying? So let me ask you this. How willing do you feel a new business owner like yourself needs to be as far as being flexible to move in? For instance, the JV thing. You said, I had never considered that. But in your mind, are you open to being led to roads that...
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I feel like, especially starting off a company, you have to be open to all the new avenues. Like I said earlier, my company had this route. This was what I was going to do. I was going to be in person. I was going to do this thing. And then that didn't really work out. And so I started podcasting. And then podcasting, I got some hits on it, but live events is kind of just a broader view of virtual podcasts like this. And so it's just a matter of being flexible and figuring out what's actually out there, because you might have the best damn detailed plan out there, but it's never going to go to plan. That's just the part of owning a business, is every day something's new is thrown at you. They're going to throw everything in the kitchen sink at you. You just got to be ready to dodge it and work with it.
What can you share a little bit about one of your favorite projects since you started the company in January? To give people, just a little insight into the joy of the work.
Yeah. Let's see. Virtual production, I do a couple of different podcasts. One of them is the Success Champions Networking podcast, and they go live every Monday. The other one that I've been working on in the back rooms is Vision Pros Live, and it's another entrepreneurial podcast, but we take people on and we interview them about their vision, about where they're going, and then how they got there and where they started from. And we just go on an interview about their journey. And I love that one because it's just fun to hear how different people viewed different aspects of their life.
Sure.
And my favorite questions to ask at the end of those is always, what tips would you give to new entrepreneurs? And then, how do you fund how would a new entrepreneur fund their journey? And everybody looks at me and goes, what do you mean by fund? Do you mean monetary, or do you mean like getting the courage to take that first step? Or I look at them and I say, I want you to take funding however you see funding, because whatever is calling out to you is what you want to talk about. And so I tell them, funding. How do people fund their vision? How do people fund the beginning of their journey? And I love the answers I get out of it. And what prevents people from funding that vision? Fear is always the big one.
Oh, yeah.
But it's all about conquering that fear.
That four-letter word.
That step forward. Yeah.
Exactly. Hey, since you're in an RV, so you move around, you could run into business just on the fly. But I want to ask you, when say I hired you, let's just take it into hypothetical land. Say I hired you, and now you need to see how do we work to get all the stuff set up. So you said webcam. So you're going to tell me, well, you need to get your hands on this, and this. And now here's the venue. What do I do? Show you what it looks like there. And there's the stage or whatever. And then you say, now stop. Cold. Go the other way. Warmer. Hot. Stop right there. Put some tape on the floor. That's where I want the tripod. Okay, now go put it there. Now run up on the stage and let me see. And then how do you run the stuff from where you're at? How does that work?
So there's different levels of production. There's the simple one, which is just kind of like what we're doing here. Just somebody with a webcam, but they're needing somebody to do all the back of house stuff. And
that's stationary camera.
Yeah. But whenever it comes to getting on stage, and if we're wanting to do full production, like it sounds like in this situation we are, I would talk to local production houses and get them to show up with multi-camera, and then I would take it over from there. So I would outsource my production company to show up in person, get me good audio, set up the cameras so that my client doesn't have to worry about it. And then I will take charge of everything virtual. I'll still make sure that your clients online, all the attendees, their remote attendees, get all their content, all the multiple angles that we've set up, their angles that we've set up, and then I'll make sure everything runs smoothly. I try to take it, they tell me what they want, and I want it to take it as much out of their hands as possible. I don't want them to have to worry about it. Everything's going to flow smooth. You just got to trust me with it. Like, you tell me what you want, and I'll tell you how we're going to get this done. And I'll walk you through step by step how it happens, whether we need to call in a production team like that, or whether we can do it with just a stationary camera in the back of the room like we're talking about. Either way, we'll make it work. But originally, like for just a stationary camera, the first step is, let's get on a call, figure out what we need, what kind of gear we need, purchase it, and then I'll tell you, find a spot in the back of the room, set up so that we can see the stage pretty well, zoom in and out. You can be the gauge. You can gauge your own shot. You can look at it. Everybody can tell whether that stage is centered or not, right? That's not a hard one to look at and be like, Peyton's off over here. We're not going to be able to see half of his face anymore. So you can adjust camera, the minute details like that. And then once you just plug it into a laptop and send it to me on StreamYard, I can take over everything from there. StreamYard, Zoom, whatever you want to send it on, we'll make it work.
Wow. Amazing. Now let's kind of pivot into another area that you say that you have a passion for, and that is, I like the little alliteration here, CCC, crafting compelling content. So now I'm gonna just keep it real. A lot of that bold statement is steeped or baptized in things you can't be taught. The university didn't teach you. You naturally are able to do it. That's just how it is. Right. The storytelling part has to be in your spirit. It comes from the soul. It really does. It's like why gospel singers can tear it up. Like that girl on American Got Talent right now that got the golden buzzer the other night from Heidi. She tore it up, kicked them shoes off, took them to church. See, nobody taught her that. It was already there. So let's talk about it. What do you think your superpower is, Peyton, that allows you to create compelling content?
So there's two different ways to look at it. There's the actual content that comes in onto the screen. Your slides, your presentation, your graphics, all of that stuff. Yeah, I love to mess with that stuff because it's just another attachment of your brand. And we were talking about brand a little bit ago. I'm still trying to figure mine out, but it's always about everything needs to be consistent with the story. If your whole thing is all talking about pink this and pink that and pink, and then you've got a blue slide, that one's going to stick out. Now, the question is, did you want it to stick out? Is it supposed to grab your attention, or did you just make a mistake, or did you just throw something in there? So there's always something that can be improved upon in your slideshow. Now, aside from that, creating compelling content with a screen and with your cameras, there's always a story that can be told there. Between these different camera shots that you're using, putting me in the big screen, putting me in the small screen, putting yourself off to the side where you can still add in and have comments. That's the important stuff that I like to do. And I'll do both. I will help you create your slides and make sure it's cohesive with what's going on the screen, because that's the big part. If you have both your cameras that are changing and making all of this stuff interactive and making it look cool, and people are interested in seeing the different camera shots, and then your slides are just black and white, you're having a disconnect here.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Across the board, it needs to be cohesive, and that's where I go.
Yes, and heads up, people out there, seriously, take a listen. Don't, especially you old heads, you OGs, thinking, hey, kid, I've been doing this stuff back from when. Right. Well, let me tell you something. When he said run a show, this is a run a show from a 90-minute special. Did I already promote the 90-minute special I have coming Saturday? Well, I'm going to do it again.
Yes.
Nameless plug in 3, 2, 1. Saturday at 1 o'clock. Be there. Turning tragedy into triumph. There it is. Okay. But run of show keeps things moving in a cohesive and a professional manner. And especially since Zoom took over during COVID, if you're doing a show of anything and you don't want people to confuse you for a Zoom call, you want to consider this kind of stuff. Trust me.
Exactly.
You really do. It's a whole new world now. Oh, is that called the new normal? I think it is. So there you go. So, okay. So now, because how we doing on time, you guys? 46. Okay. So we got some time. We got about 10 minutes, a little less, but that's a lot of time. So I wanted to, where did we put that? Wait a minute. We have something we want to talk about. Hold on. When did you say you started doing, when did you say you knew this was your thing? How old were you?
Well, I found it in high school. So I was 17 when I found it, and I'm now 25.
You're in high school, 17, 18, 19.
That was when I got kicked out of band.
8 years ago. Yeah, and you see, under here, I was counting on my fingers. Public school, y'all. Yeah. I blame that on the public school, right? Maybe it was because I was distracting people and not paying attention. It's full circle moment. But anyway, I want to ask you this, because when I went over, I'm gonna tell you something. I subscribed to your Instagram today, and I was shocked when I went over there at the amount of territory, the growth, how you have transformed since you were this guy.
Oh, Jesus.
Why?
I wasn't expecting that to show up. That shouldn't be there anymore.
What are you talking about?
Oh, man. That is
look, is that little Peyton?
It is. Oh,
I know you want to kill me. I know you want to kill me. I know you. But see, all things for a reason. It's never about just one thing. And since when I found that, and then I said, I went over to your I'm
terrified.
IG.
What's gonna come up next?
What?
What do you mean? What? You can't just show that and not expect me to be terrified of what you got hiding under there next.
Wait a minute. Hold on. What are you talking about? I don't know what you're alluding to. You don't trust me?
Not anymore.
Okay. So, but wait a minute. Okay, hold on. Doggone it. I'm making this work. Tell us, let me ask you something. Are you into what if somebody, wait a minute, 954-027. It'll be worth it. 954.
Okay.
I should have stayed where I was, and I wouldn't have had to go through all this, but it's gonna be worth it. Trust me. So what kind of budget? Let's just say if a person says, well, I'm not sure screw that. Retraction, not budget. Yep. What is the first step? What kind of call? How long does it take for you and the person that is nosing around, kind of scared or sheepish about pulling the trigger on this? How much time do you need to kind of ascertain if you and the person are a good fit?
Yeah, I mean, I normally do a 30-minute call on Zoom.
There you
Zoom,
go.
Teams, whatever their platform is. Normally, I'm using a lot of Google. What is it? Google Meetup. I think that's what it is. I use that a lot. I'm more familiar with it at this point.
Yes.
But it's just a 30-minute call to figure out if they're serious or if they're just testing waters and just asking questions. But 30 minutes is all I need to see if we're even compatible on this.
Got it. And getting anything coming up that you need to share with us?
Anything coming up, like events upwise, or what are we talking?
Yeah, events, anything that, like, you do live stuff as well, right? Don't you?
Right.
Do you ever go and do your work right there in live, or just remote?
Very rarely will I go in person because I travel full time. It's just easier to do everything remotely rather than travel. Yeah. Oh shit, I have an event next week. I need to travel across the country for that. Now let's plan that accordingly. But most of the time I can do almost everything remotely that I could have done in person.
Okay. So I just want to say, you guys saw little Peyton, what grade were you in that picture?
Oh, geez. I have no idea. That might have been junior high. Let's say 7th or 8th grade.
Junior high. And who would have known that little frail Peyton, who got kicked out of band, when I went to your, I'm ready now. I got it. When I went to your IG, and I did sign up. I did. I mean, I subscribed, hit the bell, all of it. And I was so shocked. And this says, look, PAYTON Childers. The difference. How do you do it? How do you go from, that's not you?
That's not me.
That's not you. I was like, what the hell? Look, PAYTON Childers, episodes aren't just. But let me tell you something. Look, I thought it was a big joke, right? This one I was cracking up. I was like, I can't wait. And then I started watching the video. I was like, I was looking for things today on the very things that video is for. I was watching people and stuff because I was like, okay, I need to change up some stuff in the gym. And there it is. So you led me to the thing. I was like, maybe I need to hire another trainer. You have saved me that, because this guy has a 38-minute video on those two pieces that I was looking for. So see there, PAYTON Childers.
Yeah, you're welcome. A coincidental name.
Well, now you can tell people, and no, I know it's hard to believe, but I'm not the same as the bodybuilder guy, if you in case you run across him on Instagram. But Understood. There you go. Well, that's not really a common name. No, it's not. It's really not. I was shocked. But guess how many I saw on there? Like 15. Right. Okay. Well, and I'm going to tell you why that's important. As a new business owner, when your SEO and how how you move up, because I always like people, Google yourself and then go to the images and see all the people that pop up that are outranking you with your name on SEO, and then start pushing their asses down to the bottom of the page. That's what you do there. So, you going to have any Black Friday specials coming up?
Well, I always say that prices are negotiable. I mean, we can always talk about what you need and what you got going on, and whether you need my full production value or whether we can scale it back a little bit. There's always room for wiggle. But as for upcoming dates where everything gets half off, I don't have anything scheduled like that.
None like that. So there it is. It's a business that should make you feel better about the decision, because, and that's another thing from the beginning as an early business owner. That's right. You stay where you need to stay in order to uphold the continuity and the credibility of the work. And cutting corners is a disservice to people. So listen, and you guys, as long as you know value, the price will take care of itself. The value is what you really need to understand about yourself and your perspective of value. And I'm telling you, what you offer is a great value. It really is. I know, because I've missed opportunities that were not do-overs. And I didn't get it at the time. You see what I'm saying? And then something that can never even be, I can't even describe it to people because it was that over the top wonderful. It's not a do-over, and it's gone forever. So this is the way. If you think you're doing things and you're building legacy, then you might want to talk to this young man. So there is along the bottom is the main hub. It's the website, magixproduction.com. Is that the place to book that 30-minute call you were talking about, Peyton?
Exactly. Yeah. There should be a button up at the top and then a button all the way down at the bottom, both of which are book a call or something along those lines. There's a button for it.
Okay. And then tell us about this one.
Success Champion Networking. That's when, as soon as I started my business, I was pulled into this networking group, and they're completely virtual, and they're across the country. They do networking once a week. And so you find a group of people that are local to you, wherever you are, and they're opening chapters up all across the country right now.
I love
that's
it.
Where I got my start. And that's
I'm heading there today.
Everybody.
I'm heading there today. Thank you for that. I didn't even know it existed. And then what about this one at the bottom?
So I didn't know if we could show this one or not on the TV. Okay, the Badass Business Summit. So that one is Success Champions Networking does their big event once a year, and that one's coming up in September. It's a 3-day summit for B2B business owners, and I'm going to be there recording the whole thing. And so it's kind of my first big production value thing. And so I'll be there with
congratulations
and audio and the whole 9 yards, and we're going to make it phenomenal. I'm not live streaming this one. I will be recording it. So if you want to be there and you want to learn how to get on screen and how to sell yourself, because people buy you in this day and age, they're not exactly buying your brand or your company name. People are buying you. So on stage for the next 3 days in September 18th, 19th, and 20th, they're doing how to sell you, how to sell your brand and make a personal brand for your company.
Beautiful.
3-day summit out of Fort Worth, Texas. And if you can make it, come on down.
Out of Fort Worth, Texas. Do you see how every time he says Texas, he goes into that's so interesting.
I'm trying to hide that Texas twang as much as I can.
No. That's endearing. Leave it in there. Be you. I don't believe in that fake it till you make it. No. Seriously. When I had that mindset, everything around me, the diamonds, the gold, all of it was fake too. But as soon as I became authentic, so did all of those things I just mentioned. There you go. Listen, you guys, there it is. Use it. Use it, use it, use it. You will be glad you did. Peyton, I want you to come back in a few months. Give us an update on how things are going. And hang out for just a second. I got something for you backstage. And listen, you guys, I want to hang out with you again. How about tomorrow, 8 a.m. Central? You and I agree to try our best to meet over there on the front porch where together we can have yet another illuminated conversation. Listen, get out there today. Find just a little piece of your highest self. Bring it over to where you find yourself and take everything you are, from great to greater, strong to stronger, bright to brighter, nice to nicer, and my favorite, kind to kinder. Now listen, get out of here. Do not let my front door slam on the way out, and I'll see you tomorrow. Remember, Dr. Lauren loves you, and there ain't a damn thing you can do about it. Have the best day ever. Thank you so much, Peyton. You're awesome. See you soon. Bye, everybody.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need a space.